morning, good afternoon, good evening, whenever you're watching or listening to this. I hope you're having an amazing day. So, if you are watching this, you're probably like, Siobhan, why, one, are you in full glam, and two, in what looks to be a dressing gown? Well, I'm not in a dressing gown. I'm actually in I don't even know what you call it. It's like a fluffy jumper. Because if you don't know, the day that I am filming this podcast, we have just finished our beginning of the year, but our yearly team shoot with Eddie Wright, which was absolutely insane. And that's the reason why I'm in full glam, because I can't be able to take my makeup yet. And taking my makeup off yet. And I do have a couple of pieces of content to film as well, which I might as well film whilst I've got my face on. We've also got my lovely co-host Molly that we can see in the corner. She's not impressed at all. So if she's like sulking and looking really sad, it's because John's downstairs. He's making dinner, and yeah, Molly's upset by this because she wants to smell the chicken and the gravy and all the fun stuff, and we like to feed ourselves before we feed her. So yeah, she's in the corner having a little sulk, and she might have like a little cry as well, but she's okay. She's just being Molly. She's being sassy. So yeah, this weekend has absolutely flown by. It's been super busy, it's been super fun, and today with the Eddie Wright shoot has been absolutely incredible. It's the biggest shoot that I have had to date with my team. There was 14 of us all together, 13 body balance members as well, which was absolutely incredible, and one other lady who joined us, which is one of John's clients as well, it was lovely to see her again in person, because she goes to what was my old gym that I used to PT at, and I haven't seen her since. So it was lovely just to catch up with her as well. But yeah, it was an absolutely phenomenal day. We had a lot of laughs, we had banter, everyone was super supportive of each other, and I gave them all their goodie bags with their cookies in and their like pre-workout and like my protein whey as well, which I hope they enjoy, because I got like mixed flavours of like the whey and things like that. So I really hope they enjoyed that and they got to enjoy their cookies. But because I'm on prep at the moment and the cookies are quite calorie dense, I'm not going to say the calories on here because I don't want the people on the team to know the calories, just because I just wanted to enjoy them, have an off-plan meal, have the cookie. They've fucking worked hard for it. But because I'm on prep, or going to be on prep soon, we're in the health phase at the moment, and maintenance phase before we jump in. So I am just being very conscious with like tracking and stuff like that, and it's only gonna speed up as we go into prep. So this is episode 18, which I feel like every time that I'm on the podcast, I'm always like 18. I can't believe that I'm continuing on with this. But yeah, I absolutely adore these podcasts. I love how much they are helping people, like on Instagram, on YouTube. I know that, for example, like my clients listen to these as well, and sometimes it's good to speak about a topic that's been coming up quite frequently in check-ins and just approach it from a different way. Okay, I know other people who might not be clients might also benefit from hearing this perspective, or helping me solve that problem as well, obviously from a more like generic standpoint. But this episode is the continuation of how to build a bulletproof mindset, which a couple of weeks ago we did part one. We did part one, and this is going to be part two, covering the all or nothing mindset, then to go over rewiring self-talk, and then building a grit mindset or a bulletproof mindset for long-term success as well. Also, just a heads up is that I am going to be delving deeper into a few of these topics too. So for example, like I know that last time on part one, I speak about neuroplasticity quite a bit, and even though the topic of neuroplasticity is quite sciencey, I completely understand that there's going to be some people who will absolutely thrive off that, and some people who might have heard me go on neuroplasticity, but understanding like the deeper science in it might actually help their mindset more, which I know it did for me, because once I learned about the science of neuroplasticity, it was almost like ding, like a little light bulb went off in my head, and I was like, well, I can change. There is science. It's not even just like it's humanly possible. There is scientific proof that anyone can change the way they think, can change the way that their brain functions and just automatically thinks as well. And if it's scientifically possible, that not even just humanly possible, but anyone can do it, then 100% I'll be able to do this. But jumping into the continuation, straight into mastering the all or nothing mindset. And the all or nothing mindset, just like with the majority of these things, is something that I have struggled myself. It's something that I sometimes still do. I say struggle, something that I come up against myself, where my brain is naturally like full, like on the gas or not at all. And what I have found with working with people who are high achievers, who want to just continuously level up and be the best at whatever they do, whatever they pursue, and essentially have that perfectionist is that this tends to come up. It's like either I have to do it right, or like I'm just not doing it, I'm not good at it, and I don't want to essentially approach that failure in a way. And I put that in like bloody quotation marks, because there is no such fucking thing as failure unless you give up. Unless you are giving up on what it is that you're trying to pursue, you have not failed. You are just learning. And you might have come up with something that has tripped you up, and it's like, right, okay, what can we learn from this? And this is going to be part of this mindset and how we can approach it as well. So fat loss, muscle building, pursuing a fitness journey is not about being perfect. And this is something that I try to drill into my clients right from the offset, is that I don't expect anyone that I work with to be perfect, because I do not work with robots. I work with humans. And as humans, we fuck up. As humans, we make mistakes. As humans, we get to a point where it's like, it's fucking hard, and we've got to essentially manage our mindset and manage our habits, and our routine, our life might completely change. It's like, right, okay, how do we approach this new challenge? And it's all about learning at the end of the day. And if something big changes in your life, or you come up to a big barrier in your life, it's like, right, okay, you might not be able to be perfect in that, but essentially you control what you can control, which I'm going to talk to you about in a second, and just pursue it as best as you can. And it may not be perfect, but it can be better than what you would have done if you would have kind of gone, oh well, I can't do it perfect, so fuck it, I might as well just like binge eat all weekend, not give a shit about my calories, not give a shit about my steps, and just throw everything out the window because I can't be perfect. And this is a very it's not the best way to approach the situation at all, because you are like, sometimes life does happen, and it's how we control that and how we control our controllables, going back to what I was saying before. So for example, instead of I messed up on the weekend, or I might have had too many drinks, or I might have accidentally tracked this brand of, I don't know, cereal, and instead of this brand of cereal, it's like, instead of going, oh well, I fucked up there, so I might as well not continue, it's going, right, okay, this has happened. One, what can I learn from it? Can I take anything from it? But also, what do I do now? How do I continue moving forward being the best version of myself that I can be? So this is like a very, very minor story, but this is just going to be like an example that I'm going to teach you. But about 5 months ago, I was scanning my chocolate hoops, which was on my meal plan about 5 months ago. I have a different meal plan now. But I was scanning my chocolate hoops, and I was trying to work out how many, because it basically in my meal plan, it wasn't how many chocolate hoops, it was how many carbs from the chocolate hoops from the cereal that I had in my meal plan. A bit of a roundabout way to do it. But I was working out how to find this like 70 grams of carbs in the cereal, and I scanned by MyFitnessPal onto the cereal, worked out the amount of carbs, and then put it into the bowl. But then there was a point where like my carbs got increased, and it was like 100 grams of carbs from cereal. And then I did the same thing. I used the memory that was in MyFitnessPal, 100 grams, put it in. But then I can't even remember what happened. I think I was looking at the cereal box anyway, and just tallying something up. I think I needed like half of one cereal and half another cereal. So I was looking at the side of the box anyway, just to try and like work something out. And I noticed that the data, or the entry that was in MyFitnessPal, was completely wrong to what was actually on the cereal box. And you should always go off what's actually on the cereal box. But me being like, I was just trusting what was on the cereal box, and because I've been doing it for so long, I didn't even notice that it was off. So anyway, like, I could have in that moment gone, well, I've messed up X amount of weeks of bulking, it doesn't matter anymore, I might as well eat X, Y, and Z because I've not been accurate with my calories, or I could have gone, right, okay, I fucked up here. Like, I'm human at the end of the day. Even though I'm a coach, like, I fuck up too. And then essentially it's like, right, okay, I know this now. I'm not going to make that mistake again, and I'm going to rectify it for the rest of the day and just continue on. Like, yeah, it's a little bit shit that I'm going to have less cereal now, but like, all I can do is just continue moving on from that, learning from that, and just being better in the future. That's it. And then just with that itself, like, I will progress. And again, if I end up going to like a little bit of a deficit because of that less cereal, and so be it, I'll end up getting more calories later on too. So, as I was saying before, something that I do frequently say to my clients is, instead of like focusing on being perfect, focus on controlling your controllables. So what I mean by this is, like, if there is a day where you absolutely cannot be perfect, you have planned the day within an inch of its life and something goes awry, or for example, like, maybe you've tracked in your meal out in Pizza Express and you get there and there's no free spaces in Pizza Express, so you've got to go somewhere else and you go to Wagamama's, and then you're going to end up being like a little bit over on your calories because you've gone to Wagamama's instead of Pizza Express, or something like that. That again is just an example. It's like, you might have gone slightly over on your calories, but you can still track it in. You can still show up for yourself, instead of going, oh well, I've gone over my calories, I might as well fuck the whole day off and have like a starter, main, and dessert, go home, pick out on a load of things and go, oh, it doesn't matter because I've been over on my calories. No, because even if you go over your calories a slight bit, this is not a habit to get yourself in, by the way, but even if you go over your calories a small amount, you will still be in a deficit. You will just be in slightly less of a deficit. That is it. And you just move on with your life, and that is it. And something that I also say to my guys too is, imperfect action is better than no action at all. So still, like, holding your own, tracking that in. Yes, obviously showing that you've gone over so slightly on one day, that's better than just trying to hide it and not track it in, or essentially just hitting the fuck it button. And this is also the way that I like to describe imperfect action is better than no action at all, is with training. Because, and again, hold my hands up, I've been there. I haven't done it in fucking years, if I'm being honest, but I did definitely do it at the start of my fitness journey. Is, let's say I had a really crazy busy day and I knew that my, let's say, leg session was going to take 1.5 hours, or 1 hour, 1.5 hours, and I only had 30 minutes to train. Past me will go, well, I don't have time to do the full session, so I might as well fuck it off, and I might as well not do that. Or I might have time to do my session, but I don't have time to do my full 30 minutes or 45 minutes of cardio, so I'm not going to do any cardio. It's like, do something. Like, yes, you might not be able to get your whole 10,000 steps in, but if you can push and get 8, it is still better than nothing. You getting 30 minutes of that leg session in, if you have 30 minutes, is better than not doing it at all. And another example of this is when I injured my back. Oh god, was it like a month ago? Must have been about a month ago now, or just over a month ago. And when I injured my back, I could have gone, oh well, I can't do half my exercises, I can't do majority of my training, I might as well just fuck off my training until my back gets better. But I didn't do that. I was like, right, yeah, I've injured my back, but I'm going to show up to every single gym session, just go really fucking light on the weights and see what I can do. And even now when I'm going through leg sessions, so last time that I did one of my lower body sessions, I did all of my leg session, all of it went really great. But when I did single leg curl, it flared up my back. And I was like, I just did one side, one leg, realised that it flared up my back, and I was like, whoa, this isn't the day for this. And I literally just stopped that exercise and moved on to my next one. And I didn't beat myself about it. I didn't go, oh, I might as well just go home now. No, I went and continued on doing my adduction, I think it was, after that. Because again, controlling what I can control, imperfect action is better than no action at all. I still showed up and did the best that I could do on that adduction. I actually got a really fucking good PB as well. And it's just all of these. It's like, okay, what can you do? I couldn't load the bloody hack squats for about 3 weeks. I was on fuck all weight. Leg press as well, I couldn't even do that for 2 weeks, but I could do other things. And that was okay. My leg sessions were really fucking short at one point because of my back injury, but I still showed up and I still did what I could do. Again, just showing up for myself. And the same with cardio. So because of my back injury, I couldn't do the stair mill to get my heart rate to the level that I wanted it to be. So I did an incline treadmill. Did I get my heart rate up to where I wanted it to be? No, but I still did something. I still did some cardio, even though, yes, it wasn't optimal. It wasn't perfect, but it was something. And that something would have helped me out better than me coming home and sitting in my pants and playing video games. 100%. And it's those little one percenters that are going to get you better. And I believe it's those one percenters and that imperfect action mentality that helped me recover from my back injury fast, because even my coach held his hands up and said, you know what, I'm actually pretty impressed about how quickly you've turned this around. And that's because I've got that mentality of like, instead of going, oh fuck, I can't do anything, and fobbing it off and being a wet wipe about it, which I would have been, is me going, okay, what can I do? What can I do? What can I learn from this instead? Which is a very different and a much more positive mindset and mentality to have. Next thing that I want to talk about tonight is rewiring your self-talk. And again, this is something that I will regularly go through with clients, especially if I notice that they experience negative self-talk quite frequently. And the reason why I go through this with my clients, and I will pull them upon the way they speak to themselves and the words that they use, is because the way that you speak to yourself is so bloody important. So if you say things like, I always fail, I have no discipline, I'm not clever, I'm not strong, I have a weak upper body, I have a weak lower body, I just have no willpower, I really struggle controlling myself around sweets, I will never have a great relationship with food, I will never be able to keep peanut butter in the house, stupid shit like that, I'll never be a gym person, then you want to know something, your brain will prove you right. Our brains are so fucking clever, and as humans, we love to be right and we love to be able to see the future as much as possible. So if you start to tell yourself these stories of which you might have absolutely fuck all evidence for, then what will start to happen is you'll start to lay the foundations to build a self-fulfilling prophecy on what you're telling yourself. If you've never heard the concept of a self-fulfilling prophecy, a self-fulfilling prophecy is used in social and behavioural sciences to refer to the idea that one person's expectations can help to bring about the behaviour to ultimately make that expectation happen. So for example, I'm trying to think of an example. If you say to yourself, I will never have a good relationship with food, more than likely you will always have a poor relationship with food, or you'll always struggle with food. And if you tell yourself, I'm always going to hate cardio, or if you say to yourself, I hate cardio, guess what? You'll probably always hate cardio until you start to turn it around. And if you say cardio is boring, cardio will probably always feel boring if you tell yourself that story. This also is the same of I'm always going to be hungry on a diet. You're probably going to really struggle with hunger on a diet if you tell your that story, and probably even make it so that you're hungrier. Another one that I have picked up on in my years of coaching is something that is such a it's not a myth. It does come from, I understand where it comes from, but people are very, very over dramatic about it. Is, oh, I'm in a deficit or I'm in a dieting phase, I can't get stronger and I can't build muscle. And I'm like, that isn't true. It is harder. Yeah, it's harder because you have less energy, but you can build muscle and you can get stronger. However, if you have that mentality of, I'm going to be really weak because I've started a diet, or I'm going to lose muscle, I'm going to lose my ass because I've been dieting. Yeah, you probably will. However, if you fight your ass off, fight your ass off. Is that the right? No, it's not the right saying at all. If you fucking fight for it and fight through those hip thrusts and fight through those kickbacks, you probably won't lose your ass. You'll probably build glutes alongside losing body fat at the same time. And this is the mentality I took myself through in my last diet. I was like, I fucking refuse to lose muscle mass. I fucking refuse to get weaker, and I didn't get weaker. The only time that I noticed like a little bit of a strength drop off was at literally the last 2 to 3 weeks of my diet. But at that point, in terms of the level of leanness, I was getting very close to thick skin lean. I was so fucking lean. My level of body fat was, I wouldn't say it was in like, it wasn't under 10%, but it must have been roughly about like 12% or something like that. But you could see I weren't in a good place in terms of like health wise, so body fat level. Most women who have visible abs are not in a great place body fat percentage, and that's why my strength dropped off. However, if you don't want to take yourself to that level of extremes in terms of leanness, you won't notice that. They won't notice. You shouldn't have a strength decrease. You shouldn't have a muscle decrease? And if you do, that's probably because you're coming from a mentality of, I am going to get this. So again, that self-fulfilling prophecy comes and you end up getting weaker. And because you're getting weaker and because you're training like a wet wipe, that muscle will deteriorate, because the way that you're training is simply not hard enough and it's not optimal, not only to build muscle, but to retain muscle mass as well. So that is something that I do tend to bring up quite a lot of my clients when I notice like the weights dropping. Is, as their coach, one of the things that I do is I keep an eye on their weights. I make sure that their weights are going up, like always, no matter what phase they're at. If they're in an improvement phase, if they're in a dieting phase, if they're at a maintenance phase, their weights are going up, because no one that I've worked with so far has took themselves that extreme where I would expect a drop. And if there is a drop, I'm obviously not going to be seeing next Tuesday about it, but I'm going to be like, right, okay, what's gone on here? How can we get the weights going the way that we want to see them go? How do we get these weights to go back up? So that's something that I talk to about as well. So the way that we do this, and again, it's not something that you're going to click your fingers and it's going to come overnight, but you're going to start flipping the script. If you want to change the way that you ultimately think about yourself and take control of that self-fulfilling prophecy and actually build a self-fulfilling prophecy that you want to see, is you're going to start flipping the script. Now, as humans, we are hardwired to let the negative stick to us. It's almost like Velcro, like negative thoughts and feelings will stick to us and make more of an impact on us than those positive thoughts. So for example, let's say that you're on Instagram and you post a really sexy selfie of yourself and you get all of these amazing comments, all of your friends like fucking fire emojis, you sexy bitch, all of those kinds of things, and you get one comment, this random person with a weird, like it's a private account, weird username, and he or she says, you look awful. Oh, look at that stomach, or this, that, and the other, and points out something that you probably never even thought about. Like you might say, oh, your nose is massive, and you're like, oh, I've never thought my nose is massive. But because you've received that negative comment, all of the other positive comments suddenly become like obsolete, and you don't hold them to the same regard. However, that one negative comment of someone who has no fucking impact in your life, that you have no idea who they are, that suddenly sticks to you. It's very normal being a human, and it's our brain keeping us safe and trying to flag danger before danger exists. However, right now in the modern world, when you know there is no danger, it's illogical for us to let those thought processes stick, especially if it starts to affect our mental health, if it starts to affect our mindset, our mentality, our mental resilience as well. So we need to fight back on these comments. So instead of when you have like those negative comments that if you get on Instagram, or comments and feelings that you think about yourself, the worst thing that you do, but it's something that a lot of people tend to do, is put it aside. Push it down, 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 down. Try and forget about it. Try to ignore it. That is the worst thing that you can do, because essentially what you're doing is you're pushing it down, and there's going to be a point where I think I might have actually mentioned this on another podcast before, but when my mum passed away, I ended up going to therapy for a little bit, and my therapist had this really cool metaphor of like a closet. And whenever you push something down, she always described it as like you put it in a box and you put it in this cupboard. I don't want to think about this right now. I don't have time to think about this now. However, there's only so much fucking space in that closet, and eventually you can jam the doors shut, you put in locks on it, just trying to keep it shut, but eventually that lock goes, that cupboard just goes poof, and it all comes out, and that you've essentially just got to pick up the pieces. And this is what it's like with your mindset. So the worst thing that you can do is put that negative thought and trying to ignore it and put it in that closet. Right there and there, you need to deal with it and get on it straight away. So when those negative thoughts come up, or as I said before, like you might have a negative thought of Molly's being very dramatic. I'm so sorry about this. So when you have like let's say the negative thoughts of I am not disciplined, you need to catch that thought there and then and flip the script. And maybe it's not something, because you might not be disciplined at that moment in time. You might not be. What I get my clients to do is to put it on trial, and they might put the I am not disciplined on trial, and they try and find evidence, essentially to prosecute a defence, essentially, where it's kind of like you need to find evidence for and against this. So if you put I am not disciplined on trial and you have more arguments for it, and you're actually like, oh shit, well, I've got more evidence that I'm actually not disciplined and this negative thought is true, then flip it and go, okay, you might not be disciplined now, but you are learning to be disciplined and you will be disciplined. Just like, for example, I like to say to myself, I can't play guitar right now, but that doesn't mean I'll never be able to play guitar. I'll never sit here and go, I'll never be able to play guitar. Absolutely not. I will go, and this is if I wanted to learn how to play guitar. I don't want to learn how to play guitar. I have no interest. But if I wanted to learn how to play guitar, I wouldn't say, oh no, I'm never going to be able to play guitar. I can't play guitar. I will go. I am learning to play the guitar, and just like that little tiny tweak makes a massive change. And it's almost, I am learning to be motivated. I'm teaching myself how to be motivated. I might not be where I want to be fitness wise, but I am building habits that will help me become my best self. I am making choices that will support my best self. So yeah, the words and the phrases that you use make a huge difference in how you show up. And again, it's flipping that self-fulfilling prophecy into something that'll be negative to a self-fulfilling prophecy that'll actually be, well, positive. So yeah, just a reminder, every time that you catch yourself in a negative thought, catch it, don't ignore it, deal with it right then and there, and replace it with a powerful one, and one that you want to see the positive impact down for it further down the line as well. Last thing that I want to talk about tonight is building a grit mindset for long-term success. So this is another thing that I go through with my guys when they go. So when someone joins the Body Balance team, I will take them through a series of 3 mindset tasks, and this is just to help them prepare for their fitness journey alongside me as well. So we'll go through core values, we'll go through time management, so just make sure that is bulletproof, and we'll also go through smarter goals as well. Now, smarter goals, which I have also done a podcast on this. Now, one of the way that I get my guys to do smarter goals is that part of it is looking at your journey as a whole. And I like to get my guys to look at where they are now and where they want to be when they have achieved their dream outcome. And I like to think of that next level version of them and that future version of them. And we start here and we work backwards to where they are right now in current time. Now, when we work backwards, it's almost like looking at like a Rocky montage, and we look at every single obstacle that they have faced to get to the next level version of them. Because if we just expect our fitness journeys, our journey to achieve anything to be sunshine and rainbows, we're going to be very quickly hit in the face reality. Now, you don't want this to come across as like, oh, expect your journey to be all doom and gloom and to expect it to be miserable and to you to be hungry in a diet and you to really struggle building muscle. Obviously, you don't want it to be doom and gloom, but also be realistic about it. Don't expect it to be easy going at the same time, because obviously you don't want the self-fulfilling prophecy of it being like horrible, because then it will be horrible. The diet will be horrible. It'll be really fucking tough. You'll hate your cardio, doom gloom. However, by expecting obstacles, what I mean is expect that you'll probably have a plateau during your fitness journey because you are human. Expect that you will probably get some social pressure, either from your friends. They might make like odd comments. Even people that you don't think will make odd comments, they might do. So it's always good to prepare for this. Your partner, who you think is supportive, and might be really supportive at the beginning, might end up not being so supportive at the end of your diet. Again, expecting cravings. How are you going to manage cravings? How are you going to manage your friends' holidays, your friends' birthdays, your kids' birthdays, going watching your kid in a Christmas play? How are you going to manage Christmas? How are you going to manage that random holiday, that hen party that you've got booked in? Okay, how am I going to overcome this? And if you go through that process and you make that plan, instead of going, well, I fucked up, I need to stop, or oh, I failed, I need to stop, or fuck it doesn't really matter, view failures as lessons. I fucked up again. What you need to see it as is, right, okay, there's a lesson here. Yes, I fucked up. Like, don't be like, oh, it doesn't matter. You don't want to be like that, and you don't want to fob it off to the side, ignore it. You want to go, right, okay, I fucked up here. What is the lesson in this? What can I learn from this? What can I take from this so that next time this happens or I'm put in this position, I can be that 1% better. Or maybe if this happens, what can I put in place for the fuck up that I've made to never happen again, or to reduce the impact on my journey. So seeing it as a lesson, just so you can get better and better and better and better. And this is where you learn the skill of dieting. Essentially, is that dieting and fitness is a skill that we learn. It's not something that we exit the womb and just magically some of us have and some of us don't. It is a skill that we can learn. And as I mentioned last week, in terms of neuroplasticity, anyone can learn it. And if you get really fucking good at this, at viewing those quote unquote failures as lessons and not as setback, that ability to pivot and keep on going is what is going to separate you from the 99% who quit and the 99% who don't reach their goals, unfortunately. And I want everyone who's listening to this podcast to be the 99%, the people who do not quit, the people that keep on going, the people who have that fucking resilience to be like, yeah, this is a really fucking hard situation. You might be going through a really tough time. This is like a really fucking good lesson. Like, what can I learn from this? How can I take this of like a really woe is me moment to how can I come out on top? How can I rise above what is going on and still succeed despite the obstacles that are in my way? Which is just, it's always fucking amazing, isn't it, when you have like a powerful story right there, instead of having a story of like, well, this happened and I was just a wet wipe about it and I had a pity party and I ended up being having that victim mentality, because that's just, it's not impressive at all. That's my own personal opinion though. So that is the end of part 2 of how to build a bulletproof mindset. So as I said, I am going to go through a couple of these points and write very specific deep dive topics into these, but this is just literally the tip of the iceberg of how to build a bulletproof mindset. So I'm really excited to dig on this topic with everyone. So as usual, if this episode resonated with you, please screenshot it and tag me on Instagram, because obviously I want to help as many people as possible, and I want to build a huge community of people with a bulletproof mindset. Now, little plug as usual, if you would like or need personalized support, or you're interested but you're not sure how one-on-one coaching would work, then please shoot me a DM with the word mindset for details on my coaching program, and I'll send you over a website, and if you're interested I'll shoot you over price as well. As no gatekeeping on my side. I am pretty chill with everything. But yeah, if you don't follow me on Instagram, first thing, why are you following me on Instagram? My Instagram handle is down in the caption. Give me a follow on Instagram if you're not already. If you're interested in coaching, shoot me over the word mindset, and I will see you on the next one.